Hello, my name is Annie, and today I'm bringing you the second episode of Annie's Storytime. We will be talking about the King of Gilneas, Genn Greymane. His kingdom is located in the peninsula that lies to the southwest of Silver Pine Forest on the continent of Lordaeron. His father, Archibald Greymane, has led Gilneas into its industrial age. Greymane was also one of the original founders of the Alliance of Lordaeron. During the Second War, Genn and several of the most influential Gilnean nobles had made the trip to answer King Terenas' emergency summoning, together with the other lords of Azeroth. They were meeting with the other human leaders at Capital City to hear of Stormwind's fall at the hands of the Orcish horde. After listening to the plight of Anduin Lothar regarding the fall of Stormwind and the threat of the Orcish horde, Genn has retired to his quarters to consult with his fellow countrymen, Lord Crowley, Godfrey the commander of the militia, and Baron Ashbury, one of Genn's most trusted friends. During the debate, Crowley, being a man concerned for his fellow men, insisted on helping the Alliance, while Godfrey came with the idea of offering a small support his standing militia forces. This way, they were trying to keep a good relation with the kingdoms of the Alliance and ensuring that future trade and taxes remain stable. Lord Ashbury agreed on Godfrey's idea. Agreeing with his advisors, Greymane decides to join the Alliance, offering a small support though. But before the end of the Second War, he decides to withdraw Gilneas from the Alliance.
I listened to you and Crowley before, and look where it has gotten us. Dead Gilneans, torn apart by those green scoundrels, and now the Alliance. Oh, this Alliance you were so certain would be a boon to our people. They want more and more every day. They take and take, but what do we receive in return? Where is the great reciprocity you both were so certain of? Now they want us to send them gold for that keep, Netherguard. What does that outpost have to do with Gilneas? With my people?
His actual interests are very well described in the novel Day of the Dragon by Richard Knack, even though the main story is about the freeing of the Dragon Queen, Alexstrasza, and Ronin's adventures. The heads of Kirin Tor met in Dalaran to discuss the situation after the Second War. The Alliance had at least managed to push back the horde, eventually routing them entirely. There were 6 at this meeting, the 6 most senior. They were referring at the Alterac crisis, the continuous sniping of Lordaeron and Stormguard, and Deathwing's possible death. Greymane was a point of interest as one of the mages mentioned, because now Gilneas has thrown its weight into the situation. Greymane has always sought the leadership of the Alliance, even though he held back his armies until the orcs finally attacked his own borders. The only reason he ever encouraged King Terenas of Lordaeron to action was to weaken Lordaeron's military might. Genn Greymane had held back out of ambition. Gilneas had no ties to any of the lands involved in the conflict. It had always remained separate from the other nations of the Western world. Genn Greymane had only one interest: to raise his own prestige and perhaps further his dreams of expansion. Greymane decided to build a wall to isolate Gilneas from the world. Unfortunately, the best solution was to cut off Firewood and Embermill, Lord Darius Crowley's lands. Crowley had not accepted the wall with grace. He had defied Greymane and had even aided the Alliance during what was now known as the Third War by sending the Gilneas Brigade to Lady Jaina Proudmoore. Genn had tried to reason with the prideful noble. He had tried to make it clear that this wall was the way forward. He had tried to explain why assisting the Alliance was so wrong, even if his own son disagreed with him. But Crowley didn't see the truth of it. Crowley insisted that he was doing what was best for the future of Gilneas, and that he would end Genn's tyranny. During the Third War, Lordaeron, under attack of the Forsaken Army, asks for Greymane's help. Genn's son, Liam, understood that there are always other ways to consider, that different times call for different actions, but even though he insisted on helping them, Genn is stubborn and refuses, convinced that the wall will protect them. Later in the story, we find Genn, a teenage Liam, the captain, and the infamous royal archmage, known as Argal, standing on the ramparts high above the Greymane wall. Gilneas was under siege. The Forsaken invasion started. Genn ordered Argal to pull the wolf beasts from the dream as the last solution they had in order to survive. This act is known as the Curse of the Worgens. Long ago, during a brutal war between the Night Elves and the demonic satyrs in Kalimdor, a group of druids practiced a powerful yet unwieldy form that embodied the fury of the wolf ancient called Wrynn. The druids of the pack willingly submitted to the energies of the sight of Elune. They were transformed into Worgen, bestial humanoids, enslaved by their own primal instincts. Night Elves, wounded by the unruly beasts, contracted a virulent curse that turned them into Worgen as well. Archdruid Malfurion Stormrage banished the Worgen into the Emerald Dream, where they would be in peaceful slumber for all eternity. The Worgen thread was contained for millennia, until Archmage Argal managed to pull the wolf beasts from the dream, and at the same time bringing the curse of the Worgens. The Worgen curse transforms people into the ferocious beasts. It can be passed to humans and night elves. Those bitten by those unruly beasts contract the virulent curse and will turn into Worgen. Drinking the blood of the Worgen will also turn the drinker into one. The Worgen curse reached pandemic levels when it spread into the human kingdom of Gilneas, transforming almost all of its inhabitants into Worgen. This particular Worgen are known as the Greymane Worgen. In Worgen form, they are faster and stronger, with better eyesight, and an animal instinct inside them that curses through their veins. Every full moons, Genn, Godfrey, Ashbury, and others go out into the Black World, armed to the teeth, and searching for the creatures that most of his people thought were nothing more than a myth. The nobles then hunt them, exterminating the pests. During one of those trips, Genn had been bitten. The beast had ambushed him, clamping down on his shoulder before he could unload his shot. Greymane was hiding this from his people, being afraid that if they find out about it, they would shoot him. Genn frequently hides away in his observatory in Greymane Manor, where his secret ally Belysra helps him control his Worgen transformations and also tells him the origins of the Worgen and the Worgen curse. As a side note, after the curse rippled through Gilneas, a partial cure have been found, but the Night Elves later offered a more effective cure. Drinking from the wells of Tal'Daren would allow them to transform back into their human selves at will. Meanwhile, Crowley's supporters' attacks became more frequent, and Genn must deal with them. He captures Crowley and sends him to prison. Greymane, his son Liam, and Lord Godfrey led the defense against the affected Worgen, and Greymane decided that despite their differences, they need Crowley to assist them, so Greymane arranged for Crowley's release. Upon his release, Crowley gathered some of his fellow rebels to the cause and let Greymane's forces make use of his hidden artillery stash. Later, Genn journeys to Tal'Daren and reunites with the now Worgen Lord Darius Crowley and his army of Worgen, and revealed to Crowley and Godfrey that he too was affected by the curse. Crowley agrees to help him. Days later, observing Gilneas City, Genn told Liam the truth about how the curse spread and revealed him that he was bitten. Liam was fine with that, and the gap between the son and father was gone. Greymane participated in the Battle of the Gilneas city in order to reclaim the city from the Forsaken, personally calling out and attacking Sylvanas Windrunner, the leader of the Forsaken. During the ensuing battle, his son Liam Greymane is killed by a poisoned arrow from Sylvanas Windrunner that was intended for Greymane.
We did it, Father. We took back our city.
May the light bless the spirits of our ancestors, for they've chosen to allow my son to rest upon this holy ground. It is here, surrounded by the heroes and patriots of Gilneas, where he belongs.
You were a true man of the people, Liam. Unlike any royal I've ever met. We'll make them pay for this.
Humbled by his son's death and the devastation of his kingdom, Greymane accepted the aid of the Night Elves, who had offered to relocate Gilnean survivors to their Nasus. Archdruid Stormrage and Tyrande Whisperwind believed that Greymane and his people will be an important asset to the Alliance. The evacuation of the Gilnean people is very well described in the short story Genn Greymane, Lord of his Pack. Malfurion Stormrage sent Talar to help with the evacuation and during the crossing. Genn's wife, Mia, and his daughter Tess were on another ship, the Alun's Radiance, when the Cataclysm started. The ships fought against the crashing waves, trying to form a massive formation bound closely together. Unfortunately, Alun's Radiance was damaged and wrecked. The fleet wasn't helping the Alun's Radiance, however, it wasn't helping Mia and Tess. The ship, or what was left of it, was slipping farther underwater. Genn watched the ship bouncing in the choppy waves. No, he could not stay. He could not. This was his family. He owed them so much. With a loud howl, arching his back and reaching his arms out to the sky, he completed his transformation. He was a Worgen, one of the wolfmen whom he had asked Arugal to summon all those years ago. But in this form, he was faster and stronger. The curse that he became afflicted with had its advantages. He went to the sunken ship and saved the Night Elf sailors. Arriving to the cabin where his wife and daughter were, he finds Mia having a broken leg and unable to move, but he desperately made the efforts and finally saved them. Talar was there, he could heal them. But after the rescue of his wife and daughter, Genn got caught and drowned down by the sunken ship. At that moment, Talar transformed into a smooth-skinned sea lion, and diving into the sea, he managed to save Genn. In a fit of stubbornness, Greymane was against formally rejoining the Alliance until he had almost lost his wife and daughter during the crossing. After a short layover at Darnassus, Greymane decided to speak with Varian Wrynn. Greymane admitted to the Alliance representatives that walling off his kingdom was a mistake and that he thanks the Alliance for giving Gilneas a second chance. In response, Varian insulted Gilneas by implying that they were cowards and weak. Varian denounced Gilneas as an ally and absolved himself of any association with the desperate nation. During the summit, Genn demonstrated Gilneas' military might and the supernatural strength of the Worgen form to show what it could provide to the Alliance. The Alliance approved of the benefits and many began to support Gilneas' readmission. Despite this, Varian Wrynn stood up and made an announcement. Although he acknowledged the benefits Gilneas could bring to the Alliance, he points out that he could never trust nor forgive Gilneas for abandoning them in their hour of need during the Third War. He won't accept Gilneas to join the Alliance once again. Genn left the summit angry and disappointed in Varian. Genn later encountered Varian again when Malfurion lured Varian into the Worgen's hunting grounds. An argument has started between Varian and Genn about who was the better hunter. Malfurion proposed a hunting challenge to settle the matter. They chased a giant bear and worked together to kill him. Even though Varian had the killing blow, Genn and his Worgen had a great contribution also. Varian went off to the woods to self-reflect. After a while he came back and asks Greymane for help in order to control his rage. Genn led him to the Howling Oak, where he showed him a night elf ritual that allowed the Worgen to control their bestial fury. Varian then drank the waters from the wells of tranquility, balance and fury all at once. After Varian underwent the ritual and mastered his rage, he heard Gulduin, the ancient wolf, howling in approval, and he awakened. Varian was Gulduin's champion. Varian told Genn to gather his Worgen, and he was determined to battle with his enemy, Garrosh Hellscream. Having gathered the Worgen, Varian mobilized his army through Ashenvale and reinforced the Alliance forces battling there with Garrosh Hellscream's horde. Genn and his Worgen supported Varian as he led the charge against the horde. The Alliance were able to drive out the invading horde army. Varian later called for a second Alliance summit, this time being a proponent for the induction of Gilneas and the Worgen into the Alliance. As a result, Gilneas was officially accepted. Greymane later journeys to Stormwind City to aid Varian Wrynn with Alliance military operations and assisting in Gilneas' reclamation efforts. Greymane remains at the side of Wrynn and his son Anduin in the throne room of Stormwind Keep. During Mists of Pandaria, we see Genn in the Shrine of Seven Stars, where the Alliance dignitaries and allies discuss the pros and cons of using Shah power. Genn was impressed by the Shah's horrific power. In Legion, with Varian presumed death, he becomes the leader of the Alliance. He seeks revenge against Sylvanas for taking his kingdom and his son from him. In Heroes of the Storm, Greymane is a hybrid between a melee and ranged assassin. His trait, Curse of the Worgen, allows him to quickly shapeshift between human and Worgen form. This has been the story of Greymane. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you again soon. Bye bye!